I've been sitting here overthinking where to begin, and I think I'm just going to begin with what complex PTSD is. And just taking a deep breath here. I'm not a professional of any kind, not professionally trained. Um, I'm an amateur who has just really, really struggled with his mental health and who has been on a journey to try and figure out how to fix that. And I wanted to share things that I've learned, things that have helped me, and if this helps anybody, um, it's worth it. And this helps me as well, because if you come from a background of trauma, you'll know that speaking up and putting words to your experiences is healing in and of itself. Um, so, complex PTSD. So, most of us have heard about PTSD, right? When we think about PTSD, think about soldiers in war, you think about uh, car accidents, you know, really stressful, intense, traumatizing experiences. And I think for the general population, we sort of don't see ourselves suffering from any kind of PTSD unless we've been in a war or been in a very severe experience like that. And I won't mention the other ones, of course, because I don't want to trigger you. We've heard of them though. Complex PTSD is also the result of trauma, but it's a smaller T trauma. So the big T trauma is those big events that I mentioned. The smaller T traumas are the ones that are harder to see. And I think as we evolve and learn more about the world and ourselves and about human development, we are becoming more empathetic and more understanding of the human organism and what it needs and what happens when it doesn't get what it needs. So if you think about any living thing, let's take, for example, a plant. Um, we know that plants have needs. It's what? Water, oxygen, nourishing soil, the sun. We understand that if one of these needs aren't met, or met insufficiently, that plant won't grow. It won't thrive. It won't grow into its fullest gene expression. And the degree to which it can grow into its fullest expression is largely dictated by the degree to which its needs are met, these physical needs: water, sunlight, air, soil. So most of us get that because we as modern day people tend to see the world as materialists. We tend to think that which is physical is most real. Human beings are more complex than plants. Remember that plants and human beings have the same origin. All living things do. The human being is the most complex thing that we know of in the known universe. And in that complex thing, the most complex thing within that is actually the brain. We're still learning about it. Now, a human being an organism, oops, almost said the other word, it has needs as well. Now, most of us are pretty aware of the physical needs for human beings: shelter, food, water, air. Um, and we tend to think these are what are most important. Um, these are fundamental, and insofar as we're physical beings, that's true. But we're not just physical beings. We are we have a physical reality, but we also have an emotional reality, a mental reality, a cognitive reality, and some might say a spiritual reality as well. But I think it's fair to say that we're not just physical, because as you're watching this right now, there's an experience going on inside you. If you turn your awareness inward, there's sensation, there's emotion, there's thoughts arising, and we tend to think that these unseen realities, these invisible realities, are not as valid and not as real as the physical. You know, people often say, oh, it's all in your head. You're not really depressed. You're not really anxious. It's all in your head. Um, it's kind of dismissive. So we've gone over the physical needs. We also have emotional needs, relational needs. One of the most primary needs we have that we're talking more and more about is emotional safety. Um, Physical safety is sort of implied with shelter, food, water, things like that. I mean, an organism, a human being isn't safe without those things physically. What's emotional safety, though? Um, you may think there's no such thing. You may think it's maybe a nice thing to have to feel emotionally safe, but it's not a necessity. But as far as your emotional health is concerned, it is an absolute necessity. Emotional safety essentially means that we're safe to just be who we are, exactly as we are, at rest. We're acceptable, we're lovable, we're okay. We don't need to be anybody to be safe. We don't need to act a certain way to be safe. We don't need to conform in a certain way to be safe. Um, Sorry, I need some water. I'll be right back.